Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tangle Time Arts. My name is Nana Heron, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And I'm excited to be here with you today. I thought we would do something simple yet super fun. And I was inspired because I was making a pot of spaghetti sauce and, of course, using some garlic. And the Tangle garlic cloves came to mind, and I thought we'd take a look at that. Garlic cloves comes by way of Danish tangler Jacquelien Bredenoord. I hope I pronounced that close to what it should be. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Um, so garlic cloves is, like I said, very simple yet very fun, and it only requires a few simple strokes. So let's get started. We have our basic tools, our white tile, our black pen, our tortillon, and our number two pencil. I also do have a couple of colored pencils, which is optional. I just thought it'd be fun to add some color. And I've chosen green and orange. I'm really into orange lately. I'm not sure why, but it's just such a bright, cheerful color, along with this yellow green, which I just love. Um, all right, let's get started. Once you've gathered your tools, and let me just click off on this, and let's see. We are going to just start with some dots. Not our four corner dots. We're not going to have a frame this time. We're just going to put in some random dots, and you can put in as many or as few as you'd like, but I'd suggest at least, I don't know, at least 10 or 12. We'll see what we get here. So I'm just going to start kind of in the corner here and start putting in dots. Um, and I'm leaving a good amount of space between them. And I'm just putting them in here. Add a couple more here. Um, put one over there. Just trying to fill them in kind of kind of randomly. I don't know how many I have, but I have a good amount of them. And like I said, you could have more, you could have less. Um, but I think this is a good amount to fill in our tile with. The more dots you have, the more work you're going to have. Um, and the fewer you have, the larger the little cloves are going to be. All right, I am just going to start with, you can pick any two. What I like to do with garlic cloves actually is kind of start on one end and work from there. So I'm going to start maybe with these two, but you could pick any two that you want to start with. And once you've picked your two dots to start with, you're going to just connect those two with a simple stroke like that. And then from there, you're going to add like a curve or an arc. And then we're just gonna aura that. And I would say at least two times, anywhere from two, three, four, even five times. But I feel like I rarely do five. It just gets to be a little too tight. And you're going to do the same on the other side. Do I count them? I usually don't. I just try to make them as symmetrical looking as possible, but they don't have to be symmetrical. So I might have three on one side, four on the other side, and that's fine. And I am going to add one more on this side like that. From there, I'm going to pick an end to connect other dots to. So let's just go over here to this end. Again, a line and then an arc. And the same on the other side. We have another dot over to this side. So at this point, we could branch off, rotate the tile a little bit. And there was a dot here. So we're just going to connect this dot with a line to that dot. And then put in our arc. And again with the auras. But when we come to the previous clove, you're just going to stop there because that's going to be behind it a little bit. On the other side, we have a little more space. So we can just fill that in like that. And I like to make my cloves kind of more rounded, but sometimes some people like to have them a little thinner. Again, that's where your creativity comes in, and that's up to you. Just follow your heart and make them as chubby or as thin as you would like them to be. And they don't all have to be the same either. I'm going to go straight up now to this one. You might have chosen a different one to branch off on. And I'm going to make this one thinner, like that. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this line of dots here. Connect that. That. And then we can start playing around with it and really having fun. I'm going to rotate back around. I see a dot here that's speaking to me. And I'm going to go to this dot over here, like that. And then I'm going to put in my arcs. You may have chosen a different dot to work with. And that is totally awesome. Something like that. And I'm going to rotate a little, and I think, at this point, I'm going to work off of this dot here, these two. Connect those. So it really becomes a matter of connecting the dots together. I don't know if you can hear, but we suddenly have a thunderstorm. So hopefully, hopefully I'll be okay finishing the filming of this. We'll see. And rotate a little, and I think I am going to connect these like that. And this is where it gets really interesting. So I'm going to fill in these arcs here. And I'm going to leave that for now, and we'll come back to that space in there. I'm going to go off of this one to this dot here. that. And then I've got this dot here. So let me think. I can either go this way or this way. I think I'm going to go off this way. There's just so many ways you can go with this as far as connecting your dots. And I could connect these if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave that like that for now. I'm going to rotate this around. And let's see, what would I like to do? I think I'm going to do, yeah, I think I'm going to do these two. Keeping this one kind of thin. And I'm going to rotate that around and maybe connect these two. This is going to be a really little clove here, like that. And I'd like to go off over to here. Rotate around a bit and let's see what I would like to do. Maybe I'm going to go, instead of this, I'm going to do this. Rotating around. Maybe I'll go back to this one and just pick up this dot here. So we're really trying to connect all of the dots. And I think I'm gonna go up here. Rotate around and get these two. And we have this nice space here for me to show you what to do with that. We can put a clove in there and connect these dots, and we're gonna tuck this in here. Kind of drawing behind. And sometimes I like to actually add little orbs in there, tiny little ones for some interest. I think I'm going to now, let's see, we've still got one up here, don't we? So let's do this. Let's rotate around, or I'm going to rotate around. I'm going to connect these two. I think I will connect in here, but maybe, I'm trying to think, maybe I want to do it this way. And again, I'm going to put some little tiny little orbs in there. Those are optional. You don't necessarily have to do those. And then I've got this dot here. I think I'm going to connect it this way. So it's really a lot of just kind of playing with it and following the dots around. I think I'm going to connect these. And this is another one of those tangles that fills a space pretty quickly. Connect those and tuck one in here. For this one, I'll just keep going with that. And I think a lot of rotating to see where you want to connect your dots. A little bit of drawing behind with this one. And for these spaces, because they're smaller, I'm actually just going to put in some tipple or orbs if you like to think of them like that, or perfs sometimes. And same here, I'm just going to fill some in just because I love them so. So we have our garlic cloves. So we have some space around here, and for interest, I like to add some fescu. So I especially like to add it in these areas where you have a bit of a valley that comes in. And I just like to put in fescue. It's a curve with a little bit of a teardrop shape on the top, a little bit of a bulb there. And I like to do one on each side, different heights. And let's rotate and get some more over here. Maybe I'll add another one here. So 2 or 3, just for interest. It just makes it a little more floral, I guess. And once I've added some, then I also like to add some more little itty bitty little orbs, but on the outside here. You can add a couple wherever you like. Mm. I always like to ink in that little space there. And sometimes I just add them on the top here and rotate around and just see where I might like to add a little more of something. But I think it's pretty good actually. That looks pretty cute. Rotate around so that you can see it at all different angles. I think it looks really cute. So I think I'm gonna stop there and put the cap on my pen. Um, and let me think for a minute. There is something else we could add with our pen if you would like to. At this point, you can shade, and shading is going to go, of course, in these areas um, where these are kind of behind the other ones, and also shading at these intersections here. But why don't we do something a little extra and we can, with our pen, we can actually ink in some of these. And I think that would be a fun thing to do. So the ones that are on top, I'm going to ink in some of these kind of look like stripes. So you just pick one to start, and I'm just going to ink it in. And you can go solid on this if you would like. And I'm going to do some of them solid. I'm just doing every other one. I'm just going to rotate around and then do some of the others. And like I said, this part is optional. So um, if you're not really into that, it does add a lot of drama. So if you'd prefer not to do this, that's fine. And I'm going to do this one here. So I'm doing these as solid lines, but it's not 100% solid. I do have a little bit of the white tiles showing through in some spaces. And I'm also going to do this area the same. And then we'll do some a little differently. So let's see. We'll go over here. Rotate this way so I can get, it's easier to get these over here. So those are pretty solid. I think I'll also do this one here. So I have the solid ones in the center. And then what I actually like to do sometimes instead, but I'm just trying to give you options. So we're going to do both solid and those with a broken line. So I start out the same, but then when I get to kind of almost the center, I stop and leave a little bit of white space and then keep going. So that's going to create the illusion of kind of a shiny spot, like where the light is shining on it. So you can decide what you like to do. So I don't know which do you like better? Do you like these or do you like these? I guess it maybe depends even on the on what project you're working on. Because you might not even add the inked in stripes. You might just leave it like this and do some shading. Um, so lots of options, lots and lots of options. All right. So now I'm going to really put the cap on my pen and pick up my pencil. And I am going to do the shading. I'm going to get these that are inside. And I didn't add any inked stripes to those. So just adding some shading to emphasize that they're tucked in there. Now I have those shaded, and then I'm going to add some shading at all of these areas where we have the meeting. See here. Right. I think this is most of our intersecting areas here. Kind of rotate it around to see. Yeah, I think so. We can always add more graphite later. I'm going to set the pencil down and pick up the tortillon and start in these areas that are tucked underneath. And then I'm going to go back and get the areas that are meeting. I think that's most of them. That looks pretty cute. I like that. And then I'm going to take this a step further and add some color. Now, you could at this point, if you like, you could add some shading on the outside as well. I may or may not do that. I think at this point I'm going to add my color and then see if I want to add some shading on the outside. But if you want to add shading, go right ahead and let me know your thoughts on that. I'm going to go ahead and take a green pencil and start inking, not inking, coloring in um, my little cloves here. I'm starting with these ones that have the shiny spot. And when I add the color, I'm also keeping those shiny areas. So I'm being consistent with what I did with the ink and kind of leaving a white area. And you don't have to make these cloves green. You can use whatever color you would like if you're choosing to add color. They could be blue or red or brown, yellow, whatever you would like. I'm not pressing very hard because I just want a touch of color, almost like a tint. I don't want it really saturated, so it's just a light touch of color. And then for the inner ones, in some areas, I'm leaving a little bit of a shiny spot. And that's up to you. You could go, like in this one, I'm just going to go in solid. So it just depends. For some of them, I'm leaving a little bit of a shiny spot with the colored pencil. And for others, I'm just going in pretty solid. Rotate as you need to. And remember to breathe. Nice relaxing breaths. Sometimes I'm so focused, I almost forget to breathe. This one, maybe I'll just go solid. So yeah, just touch of color here. All right. That looks pretty cool. I like that. And then I do have the orange, which I am going to add for just a touch of color for these little orbs here. And again, you don't have to use orange. You can use whatever you feel would look good for your project. And I missed a spot of green over here. So I'm going to go back and fill that in. And I'm going to leave these ones that are inside. Let's see. I don't want to really go in with the green, so I could maybe choose a third color. Don't want brown either. I think I'm going to go in with a yellow and just add a little bit of color there. Just a tiny bit. So it doesn't really show up that much on camera, but I kind of like that little, just a little touch of color. And then I can take the green and just in some spots add a little bit of green. Not a lot, but just makes it a little bit different. Just a tiny bit different. So there we have some areas where you've got cloves tucked in there behind the others. Or if you would prefer, you can add the tipple or the little orbs here and there. and then embellished with some fescue. Um, and with this one, I feel like you definitely have to take a second look and make sure you got all of your areas colored in. There we go. I think that's it. I think I got them all now. It's really cute and fun. It's just really fun. And it's kind of botanical in a way. And depending on how you shade or add color, you can do it solidly or you could add a shine to it. So I did a variety of different things here so that you can take a look and choose for yourself which way you would like to go. It looks cute any way you look at it. And just turning it around is really fun. So I would encourage you to hold it up at arm's length and kind of rotate it around and really appreciate what you're able to accomplish. And really give yourself a pat on the back for how cute it looks. Now we can fill out our information here. And then you're going to need your pen again. And so I like to put my name on there. And it is the 17th already. Um, yeah, I can't believe I don't know where the summer went, but I saw some leaves falling off the trees already today. So I feel like fall is coming already. 2025. This is our weekly tangle. Still a little behind, but that's okay. Still catching up. I think we're on 23. And we've got Garlic Cloves by Jacquelien Bredenoord. I hope I said that somewhat close. If not, my apologies. Um, so yeah, cute garlic cloves. I hope you enjoyed that. Super fun. I especially love coloring these in. But so simple. Dots, straight line, and some auras, an arc and some auras. And then you can embellish with fescue, orbs, anything that you like. So play around with that, have fun with it, experiment with color and shading. Let me know what you tried. I always love hearing from you all. Um, Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I hope it's not raining where you are. Um, Take care, and I'll see you next time. And remember, I love you guys. You all are doing an amazing job. And thank you for tangling with me every week. All right, take care. Bye.